Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about order of operations. So what is order of operations? Order of operations is basically the order you're supposed to follow whenever you have expression and you have to calculate it. So some of you might know it as PEMDAS, but I'm going to show you a little bit different way that breaks it down to 4 steps. So go ahead and let's get started. The 4 steps that I'm going to be talking about. So usually what you want to evaluate first are grouping symbols. Grouping symbols can be in the form of parentheses or brackets. Usually anything that's inside of those, you want to go ahead and evaluate and calculate first. The next thing you want to look at is for powers or exponents. So those tiny little numbers such as x squared or cubed, you want to look at those next. Once you've seen those, the next thing you want to do is you want to focus on multiplication and division. And you're going to go from left to right. Okay. That's usually how same way you read when you're reading the book, you go from left to right. So that's what we focus on. And then finally, we look at the addition and subtraction and we go from left to right. So let's go ahead and use these steps on this problem that I have right here. So for this problem down here, the first step is to look at grouping symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and look at those. I see I have some grouping symbols right here. So I'm going to go ahead and evaluate what's inside of those, and everything else is going to stay the same. So this 12 is going to remain untouched, minus 6 times. Now, once I go ahead and evaluate whatever's inside of the grouping symbols, they actually go away. So 4 plus 2 is actually 6. Okay. So this 4 plus 2 went ahead and changed into the 6. Everything else I'm going to leave alone. I'm going to go ahead. And that's it. Next thing I do is I'm going to evaluate powers or exponents. So I'm looking here to see if I have any exponents. I do. There is a 3 squared. So let's go ahead and let's transform that 3 squared. For those of you that don't know, 3 squared is just 3 times 3, which is 9. And everything else is going to stay the same. Now the 6 is going to stay the same and it's going to be divided by, the only thing that changes in this step is 3 squared, giving me a 9. Okay. So now I look to see if there's any other exponents. I don't see any. So now I'm going to focus on multiplication and division from left to right. So that means I'm going to multiply or divide whenever it pops up, but I'm going to start on the left. I'm going to work my way towards the right. So starting from the left, I first see 12 minus 6. That is subtraction, not multiplication, so I don't worry about that. Then reading this problem, 12 minus 6, 6 times 6, 6 multiplied by 6. I now see multiplication, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply that out. That would get me 12. Negative 6 times 6 would get me negative 36. And divided by 9 will stay the same. So again, I'm going to go back from left to right. So going from the left, making my way towards the right, I'm reading 12 minus 36. Again, that's subtraction. And I know there's still some division in here, so I'm going to divide first. Going from the left to the right, 36 divided by 9 is what's next. So I'm going to go ahead and do 36 divided by 9. So I'm going to go ahead and move over here to the right where there's more space. So I would get 12 minus 36 divided by 9 is actually 4. Okay. And then all I'm left with is 12 minus 4. So therefore, my final answer, if I get 12 minus 4, that just leads me to 8. So for this problem, 8 would be my final answer. So let's go ahead. Let's move on to a couple more examples so that we can get a more hang of it. So again, the first thing we're going to look for is grouping symbols. I don't see any here. The next thing I go ahead and look for is exponents. Again, I don't see any of those here either. So what we're going to go to is now we're going to look to see, starting from the left, going to the right. So starting from here and working our way to the right, I'm going to check to see if I have any multiplication or division. So 15 minus 2, that's subtraction. Now I have some multiplication, 2 times 3. So let's go ahead and multiply that out. 15 minus 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1. And actually, I'll write that 6 in blue. Now I don't see no more multiplication. I don't see any more division. So now I'm just focused on addition, subtraction, but I'm going from left to right. So instead of doing 6 plus 1 first, I'm actually going to do 15 minus 6 first. So if I do 15 minus 6, that leaves me with 9. Now I'm left with plus 1. 9 plus 1 is just 10. So therefore, for this problem, my answer is 10. Okay? So again, first thing you look for is parentheses or grouping symbols, brackets. Then you look for exponents. Then we work multiplication and division from left to right. Then we do addition and subtraction, again though, from the left to the right. So let's go ahead and do a couple more. Again, first thing I look for is grouping symbols. I look at this problem, I don't see no parentheses, I don't see no brackets. So let's go ahead and let's forget that first step and let's go to the second step, which would be looking for exponents. I definitely see an exponent here. So there's a 2 squared, which means I have to work that out before moving on to the third step. So 2 squared is just 2 times 2. So this would be 16 divided by 2 squared is 4. And everything else is going to stay the same. Now again, I'm going to focus on division and multiplication. I'm going to go from the left to the right. Okay, so if I start on the left, the first division or multiplication I see is 16 divided by 4. 16 divided by 4 is in fact 4. So now I'm going to have 4 plus 7 times 5. Okay, again, I still see some multiplication, and that's the only multiplication left. So actually, if I go left to right, I will end up there. So I can actually just go ahead and do the multiplication. So 7 times 5, okay, that's just 35. But first, this 4 is going to stay the same. 7 times 5 is 35. So what is 35 plus 4? That is just 39. Making 39 my final answer. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, so this one has a mix of a little bit of everything. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. Do I have grouping symbols? Yes, I do. Inside my grouping symbols, I have 12 minus 6. So if I go ahead and combine those, 12 minus 6 is just 6. So my grouping symbols go away because there's nothing else left inside them. I can do plus 27 divided by 3 squared. Okay. Now, next thing I want to look for is exponents. Do I have any exponents? I sure do. 3 squared. So again, 3 squared is just 3 times 3, which is 9. So I'm going to keep everything else the same. Divided by 3 squared, like we just said, ends up being 9. So now I'm looking for multiplication or division, which is step 3. I'm looking from the left and I'm going to work my way to the right. So here I have 27 divided by 9. So I'm going to have 6 plus 27 divided by 9. That is simply 3. So in the end, I have 6 plus 3, which is step 4, addition and subtraction. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get 6 plus 3, which is 9. Hope this helps with order of operations. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to post those in the comments. For my students, as always, you can ask me in class. Hope this video helped. And if not, sorry, hopefully I can help you out some more later. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask me. But if not, until next time, thanks for watching.